The sun is rising on the start of the first day of spring and the beginning of year 2. Hello again, I am Jim Bob and welcome back to Marwell Manor. So a little bit to catch you up on. Obviously we showed some of what happened in winter in the last episode, but there were another 3 days of me basically just running around doing delivery missions, transporting boxes of pallets from one location to another and mucking out the cows, and that was pretty much it for the rest of winter, save one thing that also happened yesterday, which was a great demand for milk, and I was able to sell a full trailer's worth, 8,000 litres, for just a fraction over £1,800 per 1,000 litres, which was very, very nice, which is why we're in a reasonably healthy bank balance. One of the things I was hoping to be able to do, and in the end was able to do, partly because of that great demand, was to buy a second greenhouse, and that was installed yesterday. So we have 2 greenhouses now, which will be a nice little income generator for us. And those of you that have watched me do my Let's Plays know that I like to... Why will this door close? There we go. Know that I like to earn my money on placeables rather than just having something that will just generate money like a solar panel or a wind turbine or something like that. I like there to be some kind of work involved. And so the greenhouse fits that bill perfectly, because we have to make sure that we go in and keep the water levels topped up, and we need to supply them with manure, and so you have to work for the money a little bit. So we've got 2 of those, and they're going to help us manage our daily expenses and our daily interest payments. And on top of that, we have a few other bits and bobs that we need to get done today as well, not just the greenhouses. It's the start of a new year, so it's going to be a very busy period for us. We have field 19 that needs to be limed, and we have enough cash on hand now to be able to do that. Plus we have about 10,000 left of our £550,000 overdraft. So we have a little bit, a tiny little bit of emergency money. But if we fall into debt, then that emergency money is just going to clear the debt back to zero. So it's not really what you'd call some emergency backup money. It's kind of there just to help keep us at the point where if we are desperate for something, we might be able to afford to buy a little bit, like seed or fertilizer or something like that. That's another reason why getting a second greenhouse was a preferable choice, because it would enable us to minimize the amount that we're losing every day, and maybe possibly, if we're really lucky, although I don't think we will be, maybe even turn a slight profit. If we can just essentially cancel out the loan payment every day, that's what I'm hoping for. So once we've got these greenhouses up and running, we need to lime field 19, and we also need to start cultivating our cover crops into the ground as well. So we'll be attacking field 1 and then field 15, getting those ready for planting tomorrow. We're not going to jump straight onto field 18 because A, it's a really big field, and B, we're going to be putting soybean on that field, so we're not going to be planting that till sort of day 5 of spring anyway. So we've got a little bit of a window. We've got days 3 and 4 where we can get that field sort of prepped and ready. It's all about getting the other stuff in the ground first. So field 1, field 19 and field 15, they all need to be up and running in the next couple of days. And we're going to start off getting our greenhouses topped up with water. So we've got to get right up against the water butt here and get our prompt. There we go. It's a little bit tight on that one there because the angle's a little bit steeper, and we're also quite close to a fence as well, so that one's going to be a little bit trickier. But that's 2,000 litres of water in that one there. And now we need to do the same for this one here as well. There we go. So that's our 4,000 litres of water. We also probably are going to need to look at our cows, if not today, then certainly tomorrow. So I'm not going to put this back, I'm going to leave this out. But I'm going to leave the gate open because we are going to need access to the manure pit. And that's probably the easier way to do it. Unless, actually, have I got muck in the cowshed that needs to be cleared away? It might be easier to take the muck direct from the cowshed. Let's get this parked up here next to the water container. Need to get it as close as I can so I'm not blocking my my way in and out. There we go. Let's just take a quick look. Do I have a lot of manure in here? Oh yeah, I've actually got a decent amount of manure in there. That might be enough, actually. So let's hook up the front loader. I'm hoping I won't need the rear weight. Hoping I'll be able to just scoop and go straight away. There we go. Let's get our cutter connected. Back our way out. There we go. And we'll take this directly over to our greenhouses. Is the angle wrong? Oh yeah, the angle's very wrong. There we go. So, we can only get 12.70 per scoop. We could do with more, but we'll make do with what we've got here in terms of capacity. There aren't really many options at the moment for a much larger bucket. I'm sure they will come in time. At least not for a small front loader tractor like this. You know, for something a bit bigger, something like a telehandler or even a wheel loader, then yes, much bigger bucket options, but this will do. Just means we'll have to make a couple of trips every time. And there we go. Now, we should need, I think, 3,000 litres. So that's going to be 2 and a bit trips, 2.5 trips per. So 5 trips in total for the greenhouses to be sort of filled with manure. And then we may as well, you know, muck the rest out and put that into the manure pit around the corner. There we go, careful not to run over the cows. The trough is starting to look a little bit barren. There's a little bit of food waste in there as well. They are getting a little bit low. They've got at least enough food for today and water for today. So tomorrow, if we don't get time today, then tomorrow I think what we might do is just give our cows a little bit of a top up, some extra food and some extra water. They're alright for now, and they're okay on straw as well. So just kind of getting everything set up as quickly as we can today is the important job, making sure that our greenhouses are operational, making sure that our fields are prepared for planting tomorrow. And the good thing is, with the seeder that we have, is that I had initially just ruled out doing any kind of row crop this year, such as sugar beets or corn or sunflowers. I'd ruled those out completely because we just didn't have the spare cash to buy a second seeder. I had planned on getting the Lemken seeder, as I discussed, and using that just to speed up our planting times a little bit. And with its larger tank capacity, that would have been quite useful as well. But with the update coming sooner than expected, it did allow me to then change those plans at the last minute to get the Great Plains seeder. So now I can actually put some corn down this year, which is good because I want to use some corn just a little bit, but where I can, for a maize crop for silage purposes. So one of the things that I'll be doing is looking to get a silage cutter attachment for one of our tractors, so that we can actually process and harvest some corn for silage. So I'm trying to think which of my fields I want to put corn onto, and I'm thinking I might possibly do a small section on fields. I'd don't know where to do a full field of it and then harvest some and silage the rest. I don't really want to do an entire field of silage. That's a lot. I need to figure out... Look at the cows climbing over the manure pile there. I need to figure out exactly where I want to plant that corn, but I will be looking to try and get some of that planted this year. I just need to figure out exactly where. There we go. And I've got time to do that as well. I mean, again, corn is one of those crops that probably wouldn't be planted until sort of day 5 of spring, so it can be sort of planted around the same time as our soybean. So I might take a section of field 18 and just put down some corn on that, leave a bit of a gap, and then put some, as I say, some silage chaffing corn down on a section there. That's probably what I'm going to do. Just eat up a little bit of field 18's capacity. There we go. One more scoop of manure and our greenhouses should be up and running. And then after that we'll be breaking out the lime spreader and heading over to field 19. I'm going to be breaking in the 6R for our work today. The 7R is going to stay locked in the shed. So the 6R is going to be running the fertilizer spreader to put lime down, and we're also going to be using that to cultivate out our fields as well. So really get the chance to put that thing through its paces today. So this should now, hopefully, be enough. Maybe have a little bit left in the fork as well to actually get our greenhouse completely topped up. And there we go. Our greenhouses are both fully functioning and ready, and we should start to see some income popping in from 8 o'clock this morning, which is excellent stuff. Right, let's finish mucking out the cow shed. And once I've done that, I will see you on field 19 with the lime. Alright, there we go. That's the cows taken care of. So, have I left my lights on? No, good. Let's jump into the 6R. Get this thing fired up. Connect up to our lime spreader. There we go. And let's get this thing filled up nice and quickly. And don't forget, we did discover that it is actually cheaper for us to use this lime station that's built into the map than it is to actually use either the pallets or the big bags. Not by much, but enough, and it all adds up. Especially considering how much lime you have to use. Especially on things like field 18, you know, those savings all do trickle together. So here we go then, our first job with the 6R, getting the chance to really sort of turn a wheel in anger with this thing. Make our way in past our brand new greenhouses. go up our nice freshly kind of carved pathway up here, separating out our grass field from our crop field, or our new crop field. There we go. And just because we've got shadows along the tree line, I'm going to run with some working lights just for the first pass. There we go. Let's make sure we get right up to the edge of the field. We get full lime coverage. You see we're bouncing around a lot over these furrows. We will be cultivating this field before we plant on it. Shouldn't take us too long with our new 7.8 meter cultivator. Oops, I think I just missed a touch on the edge there. I want to get full coverage, just so that it's not going to bug me, just seeing this tiny little speck of blue that I could have avoided. There we go. That's the most annoying thing about getting those overlays for plough state and lime state, is that you see that little one spot that you missed, and it's like, ah. There we go. So again, we'll put a nice pass along the bottom here, making sure we get full coverage across. So we're slightly overlapping the edge of the field here, as you can see. And then we'll do the same on the other side. There is that cover crop that we will be chewing up a little bit later. That's done a grand job of protecting our fields over the winter, and now, of course, will give us that fertiliser state as well. So we are going to have to use our lime spreader, our fertiliser spreader, for spreading fertiliser instead of lime at some point later as well. Get that second application on our fields. It's to be expected. Oh, excuse me. A little bit gassy today. There we go. And again, I think I've just got a little bit sloppy along the edge here. I can see those darker patches where I haven't actually applied any lime, so let's correct that. There we go. Job done, as they say. So now we need to basically just start driving up and down the field in a nice even manner. So I'm going to get a worker to do a pass for me. Give me a nice sort of clean line to work from. My position about here. That means I should get coverage on all those bits here on this side. Oh, no, just a thin patch there we need to kind of tidy up a bit. There we go. Let's get lined up again. There we go. And then I'll have a nice clean manual line I can run. I can find a furrow and then just follow that furrow on the way down, all the way back up the field again. Of course, we are going to have this little kind of corner piece over here that's going to need to be done as well. Okay, something's going on with the AI here. Stop it and restart it. There we go. I have noticed that sometimes when the AI detects a break in the field, stops and then moves forward and restarts like that, sometimes he does have a bit of a speed issue getting going again. Let's just deal with this little patch here. Excellent stuff. Just going to square off this bottom bit here as well, just again so it's a little bit more turning room on each pass. There we go. Now if I get lined up, probably going to have to refill when I get back to the other end of the field. If I go here, yes, there we go. So if I follow this furrow here all the way down, that should be perfect coverage. Look how much we're bouncing around on this rough ploughed field here. Yeah, cultivating is definitely going to make our journey with the seeder much smoother. This uneven ground really is buffeting us quite badly. Big old cloud of dust out the back of the spreader there, as you'd expect. And we're down to less than 1,000 litres. So yeah, we're definitely going to need to go and top up. There we go. Just 4%, 600 litres left. Let's get the folding arm, or the spreading arms folded up. We'll whiz back, go get some more lime, come back, finish the field off, and then I will see you pretty much as we're done. So, catch up with you in a moment. Just finishing off the field here. There we go. There's a couple of little spots that do need some attention. Just on that border over here. So we can get lined up as to roughly where they are. Oh, I can see one of them. Oh, I can see them both. There we go. So, first one's just here. There we go. And the next one just here alongside the tree. There we go. And although it doesn't show up, there is a tiny little bit just there as well. And there we go. We have spread lime on field 19. So we just need to get that cultivated, and then that is ready for planting. Excellent stuff. So now we need to kind of start churning up our cover crops, and so we'll start, I think, cultivating field 19. We might as well. We've just got that prepped, so we'll cultivate field 19 out first, and then we'll move on to field 1, and then we'll go on to field 15, and then I don't think we'll have time to do too much else beyond that, although I do want to look at maybe just working the border of field 15 a little bit, because there are a few little bits of plough state on there that could be tidied up. I don't know. I think I'll probably just... if I do that, I'm going to end up wanting to do the whole field, because there are spots all over the field. So I might just leave that. Let's get the lime out, though. Oh, it's dumped it in there. It's a bit of a trouble to, to go and collect. I have to remember to go and get that. Let's give this a good clean, inside and out, so that we can put fertiliser in there and spread fertiliser on it. So I'll give this a good spray down, and then I'll see you with the cultivator back on field 19 again. So one thing I have noticed driving around in the 6R on this field with the cultivator is that the front is very, very bouncy. There's perhaps a little bit too much weight on the rear of the 6R. So once I've finished this field, and I've done all the difficult stuff, I'm now on the nice, easy, sort of straight up and down bits. Once I've done the, finished this field off, I'm going to head over and collect the weight from outside our sort of maintenance shed. I'm going to go and collect that other weight and get that hooked up to the front of this, just to help keep the front wheels planted on the ground, because as I say, they are getting lifted off the ground a bit too much. So it does make the steering a little bit unpredictable, and it does make the tractor have a tendency to kind of steer itself a little bit when trying to stay in a straight line. So let's just make this turn. Not quite got enough turning space just here yet. Another pass or two and I should be okay, as the field slopes away from the edge of this lime here. If I zoom in, you can see that we are being leaned back a little bit. Those front wheels do end up getting lifted off the ground a bit too much. Do get bounced around a little bit. So yeah, just to give us a bit more stability for when we do our cover crop on field 1 there, we will be having a weight hooked up to the front of the 6R. Just to, I say, stop me from bouncing around so much. You can see just driving in a straight line becomes tricky because the tractor does just readjust its position with the wheels coming down at a slightly different angle. It needs a lot more careful micromanagement, managing of the steering to stop me from constantly drifting around on the field. A little after midday, as you can see, coming up on what, 12:15, and we're almost done cultivating this field here. Just got another 2 passes, I think. I don't think I'll be able to get all of that in a single pass. This cultivator is great. It's really helpful. It doesn't have huge power requirements. I think I only need about 180 horsepower. We're getting just under 8 meters working with. And we're operating at 9 miles an hour. It's a far cry from last year when we were using our subsoiler, 4 meters and 7 miles an hour at best. This is definitely speeding up our field cleaning process, which is good. You know, we obviously moving away from having a direct drill seeder to the YP2425A does mean that we are going to need to clean our fields after every harvest. So it helps that we have something that can do the job pretty quickly. Oops, I missed a thin strip there. Let's just clean that. There we go. It's a little bit wonky. And we don't have enough working width to get the whole lot done, so we're playing it safe with a slight overlap. I'll make it nice and easy for our final pass. So I've been thinking about splitting up field 18, and I've decided, can't really see very clearly on here. Let's just hire a worker for a second. Let's open up the map. So what I'm going to do with field 18, here you can see all those little red spots that I was talking about there. I'm going to ignore them because otherwise I'll end up having to do the whole field and it'll drive me crazy. This section here, where the tree kind of sticks out, what we're going to do is we're going to cut this section off here. So somewhere along here, it might be just here actually, about halfway along. This section here, I'm going to put corn in on this bit here. And then we'll have that corn that we can chaff. And then the rest of this field, that'll all be soybean. And then on this field here, we're going to be putting on some wheat on that field there. On this field here, we're going to go with canola, and on this field here, I'm going to go with barley. So we'll have sort of a mix across our fields there of different crop types. Obviously, field 18 is going to be a big payday, but we'll have to wait till next summer, not this summer coming, but next summer, to sell that soybean, unless we get that out of season great demand, which, you know, we may do, we may not do. We'll have to see. But that'll be a long wait for that there. So we'll have to hope that we get a decent amount of cash from our canola on fields 1, our barley on field 19, and our wheat on field 15 when winter rolls around. Plus we will be able to do some silage. The silage that we're going to do here, this is silage that we will be taking to the BGA to sell. So that'll be a little bit different. And then, you know, we've got our grass field 19 here, which will be working in stages. So some of that will be grass for silage baling, and some of that will be hay, you know, so that we've got a nice bit of food mix for our cows available. And there you can see the last little bit is being done here. So let's just take over from the worker again. There we go. It's amazing how quickly this thing gets dirty, even on low dirt. But it does look good, I think, with that dirt applied to it. Looks like a cultivator should, after just been running through a field. You know, if you run an entire field like that and then pull it up and it's still shiny and clean, something's not right. So we need to cultivate out field 15 next. Sorry, field 1 next, and get that sort of prepped and ready. It's going to take us on a little detour so we can go and collect the front weight. I'm going to drop the cultivator off so I'm not bouncing around with that all the way through. So if we just drop that here for a second. There we go. Let's go grab the weight. Those greenhouses are already having a slightly positive effect on our bank balance. We're going up by about £120 every hour, which is nice. And that counteracts, you know, any wages that we spend, and also, as I say, is going to help counteract our daily interest payments, which are a little over £1,500 a day at the moment. So just having an ability to kind of manage any debt that's forced upon us because of our overdraft is a good thing. You know, it means that we're not constantly fighting just to be able to afford seed or fertilizer. You know, with our finances just dwindling day after day after day, that'll help keep us at a reasonably steady kind of level, which is what we need. Otherwise, you know, half of our money for expansion is going to go on just keeping our heads above water. There we go. So hopefully this will help keep our front wheels a little bit better aligned this time, because they have been, as I say, a little bit bouncy, a little bit wobbly. And off we go. Oops, just missed a touch on the very edge of the field there. Just see the lines that shouldn't be there. There we go. So let's do the same again. Let's put a border around our field, and then once we've done that, we can start straightening up the edges a little bit, and then we'll have a nice easy area to work. So this cover crop has done its job. It's protected our field over the winter from the colder temperatures and the frost, and now it's doing its other job and fertilizing our field for us, giving us that extra stage so that it's one less application of fertilizer that we need to apply once our crops are in the ground. Once again, you know, we lost the ability to do that direct when we got rid of the Pronto. We were able to sort of put fertilizer in at the same time as planting. With this now, we're going to have to do manual applications. So having a cover crop removes the need for one of those applications, and basically puts us back to if we planted with the Pronto, with a single layer of fertilizer applied. We're almost done with field 1, but time is ticking on. You can see we're approaching 4 o'clock in the evening. So a little bit more to go yet. We still need to do field 15 as well. We need to get that clean because I do want to start getting our first crops into the ground tomorrow. But the 6R has been really well behaved on this field. Now I'm not sure if it's a combination of the front weight or the fact that we're on a smoother surface than those ploughed furrows, but the steering has been a lot more predictable with this front weight attached. The tractor doesn't seem to be leaning forward or leaning back quite so much, so it's been much easier to stay in a straight line. I mean, it's still drift from time to time, but then you always get that, so been a lot more predictable in the handling, which is good. After this field is done, as I say, we're going to move over and do field 15, get that stripped off, and then looking at how long it's taking us to get this job done, I think that's probably going to be it for the day. I don't think we'll have time to do anything else. But if we can get them all cleaned off today, then let's say we can start tomorrow putting down the first of our grains. So we'll put down our canola on this field. We'll get our wheat and barley planted as well. That might take the entire day as well. We'll have to see how long. I mean, we're using a brand new seeder, 18 meters in working width, so twice the size of the seeder that we've been using up till now. So that should halve our planting time, make things nice and quick for us there. So we should be able to get all 3 fields done, and maybe even have a bit of time left over at the end of the day for other stuff as well. Maybe get the cows taken care of tomorrow. And then what I want to try and do for day 3 is I want to try and make a start on that subcontract that we arranged over winter, where we'll be cleaning off the fields surrounding the disused Southviews farm. So we've got fields, was it 4, 5, 6 and 7, I think it was 5, 6, 7 and 8. Let's just pop the mini-map and have a look. Yeah, 5, 6, 7 and 8. We've been contracted to clean those fields and revert them to grass. So once those are done, we'll get a 50,000 payment, which will be very, very helpful indeed. And needing that to buy the weeder, and also that'll go towards getting our corn forager as well. I'm going to be using the front attached corn forager for a tractor rather than actually getting a forage harvester. This is why A, I don't want too much corn, and B, I want it in an area where I can get nice controlled long strips as well. Just make it more efficient for us to actually get that chaffed and taken off the field to a BGA. So that's kind of the plan for the next couple of days. As I say, getting our first set of fields planted. Day 3, I want to at least try and make a start on getting those fields turned over. We've got to clean off 2 fields which are currently with a dead crop on them, and then we've got 2 other fields that are already kind of just bare, and we're going to plant some grass on those as well. They just need to be planted. So 4 fields for us to work, and of course we still have field 18, our own field, to work as well. We still need to strip all the top cover crop off of that as well, get that down to cultivated soil and then have that ready for planting by the start of day 5, because we need to get our soybean and our corn into field 18 on day 5. Otherwise it's not going to have time to grow before the end of harvest season. So let's just get this last little bit done here. There we go. And field 1 is now prepped and ready for planting. Excellent stuff. So let's make our way over to field 15. You can see we're still bouncing around a little bit, but much more controlled without those big ridged furrows in the ground. And the steering is much more, stable with that extra front weight on the front of the tractor as well. It's going to be dark by the time we're finished, so I'm going to get our yard lights on now, just so that we can see a little bit better when we come off the field. Let's get that one done as well. There we go. And you can see just how dirty our cultivator's looking, absolutely caked in mud. Still plenty of plenty of dirt left to throw on that thing. And that's going to be a long job getting all of that ripped up, but needs to be done. Right. Another potentially long job before us here. It's going to be, I think, dark by the time we get done here. There we go. And again, I'm going to do a border around the field, try and square off a couple of edges, and then I'll probably work the same way I did when I did my planting and my harvesting. So work across the field in that direction rather than straight up and down. I think it's just going to be a little bit easier for us. Oops, missed a bit on the edge here. There we go. Starting to get that lovely glow on the field as well as the sun starts to set. That kind of just gives that warmer light. Oh, and a jet goes screaming over our heads. Can we see it out the back window? It's out there. There it is. It's out there somewhere. You would see it somewhere. So I'll crack on with this. And I'll catch up with you when I've made a little bit more progress. Making decent progress on the field. We are almost halfway through, considering the border passes and stuff that I've put in. Maybe not quite halfway. Maybe just over a third of the way through the field. Time is ticking on though, as you can see. The shadows are getting longer. The light is starting to fade a little bit as the sun starts to set. It is approaching 7 o'clock, so it's going to be getting very dark very soon. This is definitely going to be the last job for the day. but we'll have achieved a lot, I think. You know, we'll have got 19 completely ready, and also fields 1 and this field here, field 15. They'll all be ready for planting. We can get that done tomorrow, get those crops in the ground, and then if we have time left over from getting all the planting done, which we should do in theory with that new 18-metre seeder, that should speed our planting process up really quite dramatically. Then that will leave us plenty of time to get our cows taken care of. If we just hire a worker for a second and take a look at our cow system here, you can see we're down to about 7,000 litres of TMR, so they are running low. We do have some of the waste food that has been thrown back in the trough. That is my sort of emergency buffer of food. It was suggested in the comments by Neil a little while ago that I just throw the silage into the mixer and then it's there ready for the next batch of TMR. Maybe save a bale or so, or just get that little bit of extra mix with a couple of runs of making some TMR. But you know, I'd much rather have that emergency backup, so if I do forget about feeding the cows or they run out of food, run out of TMR overnight, there's a little bit of emergency food to keep them going until I can get round to actually putting a full mix of TMR in there. You can see they are running low on water as well, down to the last couple of thousand litres, and straw is going down quite quickly as well. We're up to 15 cows. The next one will pop up overnight. So come 7 o'clock in the morning, we should have another cow number 16. That'll be our 4th addition to the 12 that we bought. So that'll be quite helpful. Milk back up to about 3,000 litres, so hopefully we can raise a bit of cash with that soon as well. Let's just take a quick look at our prices at the moment for milk. It's dropped down to 12.77, so it's not a great price. We know that that's kind of at the bottom range now. I've seen it go up to about 14.15 as a regular kind of price, and then of course we had that great demand yesterday where I managed to get just over 18 for my milk. So I've got a good idea, good kind of range of prices for the milk now. I know when's a good time to sell, when's not a good time to sell. Let's take a look at oats. See, those prices are lower at the moment than they were for when we sold ours, so that suggests that actually I'm looking at canola, aren't I? Oats 11.65. That's, I think, a fraction lower than what we got. But again, it looks to be about a strongish kind of price. Around the 1,200 looks to be a good strong price. Canola prices, we've seen canola go much higher than 1,000 in the past. And soybean can fluctuate quite dramatically. I've seen soybean go up above 2,000 before, so we'll have to see exactly how we get on with that. But now we're past 7 o'clock and the sun is behind those trees. We are going to start to need the lights again. So let's get these on. Continue cultivating out this field. And we've got a telegraph pole, our second telegraph pole coming up. So I'll have to sort of circle my way around that, and then we've got the other one just over there. You can just see that sort of patch in the ground there towards the exit of the field. That's where the third and final telegraph pole is. So we are approaching the last part of this job. It's going to take me another, I would say, 2 hours to get this done, so I'm probably looking at a sort of a 9 o'clock-ish kind of finish. It's going to be very, very dark by then, you know, almost pitch black, and I'll be solely dependent on the lights. The moon won't be up for, you know, many hours yet. So I'll crack on, and I'll see you as we're just about finishing this field off. Almost 9 o'clock at night. It's now very, very dark, as you can see. Moon is just beginning to start to crest way over there in the distance, but they're still not generating that much light, so it is very, very hard to see. We don't quite have enough working width to cover all of this in a single pass, which is why I'm playing it slightly safe and just making sure I've got a bit of an overlap here. Just need to tidy up this little bit that I missed here as well. There we go. So to finish the field and finish the day, we just need to do this strip down here. Now we are good to plant tomorrow. So the main objectives that I wanted to do today, which were to get these 3 fields prepped and ready. You can see a weird flashing going on in the mirrors there as the as the light textures aren't quite loading in properly there. It seems to have stopped now. Yeah, the main objectives that I wanted to achieve today, which was to get the 3 fields kind of prepped and ready for planting, and also to get the greenhouses up and running, they've been achieved. So that's good, that's important. Got everything done that I needed to get done today, even if we did have to work quite late to get it done. And that's it. We are finished with the cultivator, so let's go get everything cleaned and put away for the night. Tomorrow we will be getting the seeder out, trying out our brand new seeder. I'm going the wrong way, aren't I? Can't see where I'm going in the dark. There we go. Yeah, tomorrow we're getting the seeder out and trying out that new Great Plains YP2425A. Really hoping that that's going to massively improve our planting times, being that it's double the width. Well, slightly more than double the width. I think it's 18.2 meters, if I remember rightly, of our previous seeder. So we should get our planting done twice as fast, which is, you know, good, obviously. And then we'll try and get the animals taken care of tomorrow as well, because again, we are looking like they're going to run out of stuff tomorrow, so that we do kind of need to jump on that. And then after that, we can see where we stand in terms of getting our subcontract taken on, getting that started, getting those fields cleaned and planted as grass. So that's it from me. Thanks for watching. I am Jim Bob, and I'll be back with some more spring action here on Marwell Manor very soon.